Hey everybody, good day and welcome to my class. Today is third class of our Python programming language. Like I mentioned in my first class, this course by the time we get to some point uh, in this course, and then we can now branch to whatsoever career we want to branch to, whatsoever career path we want to choose, maybe data analysis, maybe um, gaming, maybe mobile app development or software development. Because Python, it's useful in different career paths you want to choose. So hope we had fun in that class two class. To some people it might be getting tougher, but this is just a foundation, believe me. So the more you practice, remember what I told you in our first class. The more you practice, the more you get used to all this we are doing. So let's dive into today's class, class three. Our goal today is we're going to play some games, not games per se, but we're going to write some program, and it's called Turtle. So the reason why I actually choose this topic is because there is a lot we can learn from these turtles, a lot of things we can learn from it, and then we can move into loop as well, maybe for loop, um, and then we can dive into loop very well next class. But let's check turtle. um, like I said, we're going to try different thing in this turtle, which will open our eyes to a lot of things, um, yeah, in Python and code writing. So slide two, but before we proceed, let's move a little back to do a little revision. What we discussed last time was a variable, right? So let's do quick revision. And I also want to add a little thing there. So today we're going to use our Visual Studio Code. So make sure you get it ready on your computer. Um, so this is our Visual Studio Code. And then, so the first thing I want to say about variable is that remember we talked about this plus, which in mathematics it means addition, right? But in Python as well, it also means addition. But when we are dealing with string, remember what string is. When we are dealing with string, this plus does not mean addition. It does not mean addition. It means concatenation. So it means we are concatenating one string with another string. And I will explain myself. So let's say, let's comment this out. Hope you remember our comment. Let's say we do print 2 plus 2. If we run this program, we got 4, right? Because this operation right here, it's an addition, because we were dealing with integers right here, numbers. But the moment we are dealing with string are letters. The moment we're alphabets, the moment we are dealing with string, it does not mean addition. It means concatenation, which means we want to add two values together. So let's comment this out. So for example, right here, we remember this right now. So right now, if we see any Python code, we should be able to get familiar with them because of our previous class, right? So right here, we said fruit equals to banana. So right here, the fruit right here is a variable. That means we are assigning banana into this variable, to this fruit. Do we get it? We're assigning banana to this variable. So even if you put your cursor on it, it's going to tell you. That's one good thing about this Visual Studio Code. So we are assigning banana to this variable called fruit. The next line of code said bake underscore good. Remember, last class a variable must not have a space. So we can use underscore because the moment we put this space, it's not variable again. Python does not recognize it as variable. So make sure you pay attention to that last class. I explained better. So we are assigning soft bread to this big good variable, right? So now we want to print. We say print fruit plus big good. So what answer do we think we're gonna get? If it is mathematics, what mathematics would do, if it is integer, what it would do is that it will add the two numbers together, right? But we are dealing with string right here. So what it's going to do is that it's going to print, and it's not going to print fruit because this is just a variable. Do we understand? This is just a variable. So we're asking our Python to print fruit plus big good. So what is our fruit? Our fruit is banana, right? And then what is our big good is soft bread. So let's run this program and see. Do we see what we get right here? Right here we got banana soft bread. So we are getting, so that means it concatenates what is in that, what we are adding, the operation, it concatenate it. But if it is a integer, is going to add them together, add the value together. So let's try second example. So let's say we know what this is, right? This is WD, let's say work day. Let's call it work day, but I shorten it to WD equals to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then this is our variable. We assign this value to this WD. So we now say print Olu always come to work on. Do we see? So this exercise is how to add your sentence in addition with your variable. So if we, before I run this program, can you just guess what our output is going to be? Let's take a look at this program. Because right here with the WD, which workday, right? But this is my variable. Remember, you can use anything for your variable except for the keywords that I mentioned last time. So what do you think our output is going to be right here? Okay, we know it, right? So in case you're still thinking about it, just pause this video. So let's run this program. I'll see what we got. Our output right here. He said Olu always come to work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So what we have right here. So if I remove these, it's just gonna print me Olu always come to work. But what I did right here is to add our variable with this sentence, which is our WD. So I'm calling this variable into this place. That's one good thing about variable. We don't have to type all of them. So we can recall this variable as many times as possible. Anytime we want to now use it in these in our program. So that's just what I said I should mention. Then let's proceed to this class. Let me go back to my notes. So we've covered, yeah, variable revision, right? So let's go. Hello, little turtle. So right here I said there are many modules. I will explain these modules. There are many modules in Python that provide very powerful features that we can use in our program. So one good thing about Python is that Python has modules which also libraries. So libraries is modules are just small parts of libraries. Libraries are a bunch of code, but almost all of them, both of them work almost the same way. We're going to understand it better as we proceed. So what this thing does is that in Python, there are some inbuilt program that they've already somebody has wrote the code. Some of it came with Python. Some of it is just a library that somebody else has wrote the code, and then we can take advantage of them, right? So that's modules and libraries. So I'm just going to give us an example. So in Python, let's say if you want to draw a graph, if you're doing some calculations, this for all for the people that want to go into data analysis, your data analysis later. Let's say you are writing your program, you've done some calculations, you're working with data, and then you now want to have some graphs or charts, bar charts, pie charts. Um, so these are libraries. Somebody else has wrote the code. Sometimes all this code came with Python. So instead of you to write the code of bar chart yourself, which can take hundred lines of code, you can import. So that's where the import functions is very good. You can import that code, that library, that modules into your program with just one line of code. Then you can take advantage of that function, right? So I'm just gonna give an example. I wrote a code here. So all the code that are here, remember, always practice them, which I will still talk about during the assignment time. Also, right here, see this little piece of code which I wrote. So what I did right here, this is a library, right? This is a library. So what this library does is it can help me to create a chart, either pie chart or bar chart. So what I did right here, instead of me to write this 100 line of code for me to get this result, I just import matplotlib.py lot. So this is the name of the library, matplotlib.py plot. So this library will help you to plot your graph with just simple line of code. Like I said, it came with a Python. Somebody else has wrote the code for you, so you can import it to your own program. One good thing about Python, which some other low-level language doesn't have. So now, like I've told us the meaning of the work of this matplotlib. So I name it as PLT. I rename it as PLT, which means anytime I said PLT, because I don't want to type matplotlib.p something when I'm calling it. So I can just shorten it. So Python will know, because now I'm giving Python the rules that, hey, I'm changing the name as this. So anytime I mention PLT, this is what I'm referring to. So that's why Python is just very simple to understand. So the first thing we did right here is to import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. I said name this as PLT for me. Then these are my data. I use comment right here. I say categories equals to, we'll still get to this. This is called array. In other program, it's called array, but in Python doesn't know what is array. Python call it list. If you're working with Java, if you're working with C Sharp, C++, this this thing right here is called an array. So, but Python is called list. So, I said category. Our category is phone data, groceries, bills. Then our value. If we get the result, we're still gonna understand it. So just pay attention. Um, like all these things are variable, right? You should know what variable means now. So our value equals to, I assign a value to it. Then this is where I create the bar chart. Then you see what I did. I import, because I've already told Python that anytime I mention PLT, I'm calling this library that can help me to plot my graph. So I said plt.bar. So this bar right here, it's I told him the kind of chart that I want, which is a bar chart, right? If I want any other chart, maybe pie chart, I can change it too, but I want to go with bar chart. Then I now set category and value, category, comma, value. So right here, this is where I had my labels and title. Uh, like I said, I'm gonna run this program. It's gonna get clearer to us. I said plot dot x label purchase, plot dot y labels, which is the x axis and y axis, and then plot dot title, and then I now right here show my plot, which is plt right here. I'm still calling this plt dot show, which means show my results. So let's run this program and see. Boom. You see what we got? You see our results. So let's take a look at it, and then like I said, it's gonna get clearer now. So back to our code. The first thing I did. So now you see as this chart pop up, this is very accurate according to the value that I assign to this chart. But if I want to create this chart from scratch, it's gonna give me a lot of tough time. So that is why modules or libraries, they are very good, very important in Python. We can take advantage of them, call them, import them to our program. So I'm just going to explain this program before we move into explain this code, line of code. So what I did right here is to import matplotlib, which is the library that helps us to design this chart. We rename it as PLT. So anytime we say PLT, it knows that we are calling this library. Here is where we input our data, the category. What are our categories? Phone data, if you check the categories that we have. So if we have more than 3 categories, what you just have to do is to put command right here, comma, and then input your category. Uh, Phone data, groceries, we see groceries right here, because this is the category of the values that we have. Then bill, these are the bills. Then code line 5, I said value. Value is equal to 10. So that means the value of phone data is 10. So if you notice, the value of phone data right here is 10%. The value of groceries is 15%. And the value of bills is 20%. You see, it's very accurate. So with the help of this matplotlib library that we just imported, and then I said create bar charts. I mentioned the type of bar that I want, which is a bar chart. Then categories and values. It's going to create categories and values. That this is where I had my labels and title. The the x-axis labels purchase, which is right here. This is our x-axis purchase. Our y-axis is value right here. You see, put the value. We can change. Maybe you want to change it to maybe monthly expenses and all that. Then this is the title of the chart, which is right here. Expenses. Then show plot the. So so I want you to practice these. I will add this to our assignment. Add six categories. 6 categories of yeah. Just add different things. Should I make it 8? Yeah, 8, so that you can 8. Then remember, if you're adding 8 categories, you would need to do 8 values as well. And each values, they represent each category, you know. So 8 categories and 8 values, and then you can rename these as well. Change these from purchase to another name. Changes from values to another name. Changes from expenses, the name of your the title of your graph or chart, change it. So assignment number 1 in this class. I think that's clear. So what am I saying? This is just to show us the importance of import and libraries. So libraries and modules, very similar thing, but the other place we are dealing with modules. Let's close it, and then let's go back to our notes. So there are many modules in Python that provide powerful features. We can see provide very powerful features that we can use in our own program. So turtles, uh, get them to drag shape. Oh, okay. So what we're dealing with today is one of the, we use matplotlib to do graphs, but this turtle it can help us to draw shape and patterns. The turtle are fun. Yes, it's fun. So we're just gonna do some fun things today. So the real purpose of this class is to teach ourselves a little more about Python and then some of the features of Python. So our first turtle program. So let's write a couple of Python code and then we will try to explain them. So we see what we did right here. Our first line of code, we said import turtle. So I created a comment right here which can help us. So import turtle, this wn we see. So now this wn is a variable, right? So we assign this to this variable. This Alex as well is a variable. We assign turtle dot uh, turtle to this Alex. Then Alex dot forward, we're going to understand this, but just look at it very well. So the result of this, if we run this program, this is what we're going to get. So this program is going to draw a line going like this, then draw a line going upward because of the value that we assign to it. Because we said Alex. Alex is the name of our, of our pen. Let's say the name of our pen. Um, Alex forward is gonna go forward. Alex left is gonna go left. Alex forward is gonna go forward. So if we run this program, this is what we're gonna get. So we can try this program, try to write this code and run it on your computer. Um, so the few things to understand, I'll just break it down. I'll try to explain that code. There are a couple of things that we have to understand in that program that we read. The first line tell Python to load module, which I explained. This first line, import turtle. It means we want to load the module. We want to import it, right? So that modules bring us to new type that we can use. The first one is a turtle type, right? The turtle type and then the screen type. So after we loaded the modules, it brings us two things that we can use. So if you check the program, these are the turtle type, and then the screen type, right? So back to the notes. So the dot notation, turtle means the turtle type that is defined within the turtle model. So it's an attribute, right? That dot that we see right here, it means after we type this turtle dot, so this dot right here is like we are assigning an attribute for this variable, right? But we're still gonna get better, I mean clearer. So we then create and open what is called a screen. We'll prefer to call it a window, right? Which we assign to variable wn. So what we did, we created like a screen, which is a wn. So if you see the result, this is our screen, right? So in the code right here, it's a wn. You see this variable right here, it's our screen wn, but we call it wn to our screen. Every window contains a canvas. We know what canvas means, which is the area inside the windows which we can draw. An area in a window where we can draw is canvas, right? So in line 3, we created a turtle. So line 3 of that code is where we created a turtle. Alex equals to turtle dot turtle, right? And then the variable Alex is made to refer to this turtle. Okay, so these first three lines have set things up for us and we are ready to get our turtle to draw on our canvas. So what we want to achieve is to allow our turtle to draw, the name of our turtle is Alex, to draw on our space, on our screen space called canvas, right? So next slide. So line 5 to 7, we instruct the object Alex to move and to turn. We do this by invoking or activating Alex method. These are the instructions that all turtle knows how to respond to. So in line 5 to 7, this is where we are invoking Alex that, hey, do this with this value you get. Move forward with 50 or 50 degree, 50 units. This is where we are instructing Alex, which is our pen, like I mentioned. We can change it to any name. We can change Alex to, so you can change it to your name when you are typing your code. But you just have to let it consistent. If you use your name in a place, make sure that every other place, like this code right here, you see Alex come up many times because it's a variable. You cannot assign a variable name in on the maybe in your line three of your code, and then if you want to call that same variable, it has to be the same name. So don't go and use your name in line 3 and then go and use Alex in line 6. You will not get a result because to Python you are calling different thing. Where are we? So the last line play part 2, the wn variable refers to the window shown above, which I mentioned. Uh, when we invoke its main loop method, it enters a state where it can wait for an event, like press key, so that you can end the program, terminate the program. So an object can have various methods. So these are our objects. Our object is Alex dot. So the dot there is our attribute. So we are assigning attribute for that object. So which can yeah, properties, yeah. Sometimes called properties. We call it property too sometimes. So for example, each turtle has a color. We're still gonna get to that. So now we understand that this piece of code by explaining it. But in case you want to go back and read it again, you get so that you can get it better. So let's try to run this code. I wrote it right here too. This is .1. This is the same code, right? So let's run the code and see what we're gonna get. We see our Alex. It goes like this, boom, and then draw. I'm gonna run that again. You see, it's draw because of this value that we assign, because of the value that we assign for it, So let's say this forward, because this forward is 30, right? So this is the forward. The first forward is 50, which it goes like this. Then it change the angle. It change the left, which is the degree. It goes up. Then this is 30, 30, 30. Let's say unit or yeah, or degree. No, not degree. Let's say unit. So let's try something. Let's try to change this to 100. So pay attention. This was our result before. So let's try to change it to 100. So that means we want this up one to increase, to keep going. So we see. So it depends on the value that we assign to it. So you can try this piece of code. Try to write it down and play with the numbers, right? So like I was explaining the other time. So this right here is an attribute that we assign for this. So let's try something. So we can also do this. We can do, let's assign a new attribute like Alex dot speed, because I want us to see the speed. Alex dot speed. So this will determine the speed. Then we can assign, let's say, value of speed. So one good thing about Python, if you type any attribute or anything, it will bring out some information for you that you can read and learn from. You see right here, as I type the speed, he said right here, if input is a number greater than 10 or smaller than 0.5, speed is set to 0. So following way, fastest is 0, fast is 10, normal is 6, slow is 3, slowest is 1. So this one right here tells us the value that we can assign for speed as well, right? So let's do one. So these will allow the drawing to be slow, right? This attribute that we are assigning right now is a new attribute that I just thought we should assign for Alex. Do we see? It's kind of very slow than before. It's a new attribute that I just assigned. So let's try this code and let's move to second code. Turtle 2, let's try Turtle 2. So this is our Turtle 2. Let's read the code. First thing we did is that we import our Turtle, because if we didn't import this Turtle, we cannot call this Turtle. Just like the first program that I showed us, that if we didn't import matplotlib, there is no way we can plot our graph unless if we want to write our code from scratch, which would take us about 1,000 lines of code. So one good thing about Python as well is that anytime you make an error, it's gonna underline it for you that, hey, there is an error right here. So because I comment this turtle out, you see I comment it out, it's telling us that, hey, there's an error right here. Because, okay, let me remove the comments. We're going to see. So now this turtle is our modules, right? So I imported this module. Now I'm calling this module, right? I'm calling it. That is why I can call it, because I first imported it. But let's say I didn't import it. I want to call it. I can't call somebody that I didn't import, right? If you're not with me, there is no way I can send you a message. Yeah, you can still call somebody though. But if you're not together in the same place, there is no way I can ask you or go and bring the call for me, because the person you are sending an errand is not in the same place with you, and there is no way he can bring that to you. So Python is underlining it that, hey, there is an error right here. We are calling something that is not here. If you check this place as well, because we call it right here too. But yeah, so that's import. So right here, these are window screen, remember, and then turtle.screen. Then we can also change colors. Window screen dot. So right here, we are setting up our environment. We're setting up our environment, how the canvas is going to look like. This window.bg color, and remember the color is us of, because I know UK spell their color as color, right? But what Python recognizes color, the way US spell their color. So BG, which is the background, whenever you type BG, it means background color. So this is the color that we assign to it, light green, and then title, window title is hello test, which is going to be our window title. So right here we said test equals to turtle. Now we want to make our turtle, instead of me using Alex, the first one I use is Alex, but I'm just trying to change it. Um, Now I said test dot color, the color of the pen. Remember, the first time this one was Alex. Like I said, you can use any name, right? So the color, I assigned a color to it this time because the first one we ran, I'm just trying to show us the attribute that we can assign to these our turtle. So test dot color is gonna be blue. Test dot pen size, how the thickness, how you want, the thickness of the drawing is 3, so we can change it to whatsoever value that we want. So now this is what we want our test to do. you know I can do drawing. So this is what we want our test to do. So let's try to run this program and see the result we're going to get. Do we see? First thing, the background is light green. So I think another thing you can do, another assignment is try to write this program and change the background color. So in case if you don't know background color to use, you can type Python background color is going to tell you, because for me too, if I've never used light green before, there is no way I can know that Python recognize something as light green. So just Google Python colors. It's going to tell you different colors that you can use, but the common ones, blue, red. So let's do red. Let's close this. Let's do red. The background color, we see, yes, the background color is changed to red. So back to us. Let me return it to light green. Then uh, S.2 blue, our pen color is blue, which is our test. Then pen size, the thickness. This is 3, thickness 3. Then what we want it to do is test forward, it go forward for 50 unit. Then this is the angle. It's turn 120-degree angle which goes here, and then it move forward for 50 units as well. So try this code, try to play with it as well. So let's go to our third. So same thing right here, import turtle, we import our turtle, um, window, background color, title, text analysis. Um, so we want our turtle hot pink, the color hot pink, the pen size is 5. So Alex, then this is what we want it to do, the drawing. So right here is going to draw a full triangle, because the other one you draw half, right? Because of the value that we assign to it. So let's run this program. I have to close this. So remember to always close whatever that you opened before. So boom, do we see? So let me try to um let's do test dot speed or 1, so that we can see the way it run, it draws it. Yeah, so because of the value that we assign to it, you know, this is the result that we're getting, right? So this is where the drawing take place. This is the value that we assign. So if we tamper with any of these things, this triangle is not going to be accurate again. Okay. So but you can play around, write this code as well. Every code that I display here today, write it and practice it. Write it, practice, write it, practice. So right here, where is text and Alex? Yes, do you see this WN the title? This window title is just the title of the window. Do you see test and Alex? So if you change anything, this does not affect your code. It's just the name of the title of the window, of the screen window that's going to display. So play around with this code, use it to draw different things. So let's try to draw square now. Same thing, import to light screen, but right now we want to draw square. So let's run it. Remember, always close the program that you run before you run another one. Do you see? Draw a square. So because of this value that we assigned, so let's try to draw square. A square in a triangle. So go through this code. Go through this code. If you need me to send this piece of code, but you can type it. I don't have to send it to you. Just look at it right now and then type them. Practice. So let's run this code and see. So do we see it draw the triangle, then after drawing the triangle we draw the square inside of it because of this value that we assign to it. So let me try to reduce the speed. Let's do test dot speed attribute. Let's do one. Yeah, do you notice something? While drawing the triangle is very, very slow, and while drawing the square, it is fast. Why? Because this is our code for drawing our triangle. It started from here and it ends here, right? It started from here and ends here. This is our code for drawing the square right here. Remember what I told us in our first class? Python executes every code line by line. So this is our code for drawing the square. So we have to, and remember, test is our our triangle. Our triangle is test. So that means we are telling test the speed. We are telling the Python the speed of test should be 1. But this is our triangle. This is our drawing of triangle. No, I mean drawing of square. Uh, Square drawing. These are our square drawing. These are our triangle drawing. Our triangle drawing started from right here. So I told the Python that the speed of test. So if I change all these things to triangle, yes, maybe we can understand better. But yeah, so the test speed is 1, which means triangle, because this value will make it to draw a triangle. And this Alex is my square, right? This Alex is my square. So I only assign speed for this test alone, which is triangle. So if I want this square to also slow down, right, I'm going to have to declare it. I'm going to have to do Alex right here, Alex dot speed, then give the value, let's say 1, but let me just move it to the top over here. So when Python is executing this code now, if you come to this, when you get to this Alex, you will know that, oh, okay, so let me do this, let me do 3. So the value will be different. So if I run this program right now, these are our tests, now these are our Alex. Do we get it? Our test is triangle and our Alex is square. So practice, 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 practice all these codes, practice them. So this is the full code in case if we want to practice it. Started from imports and ends at WN main loop. So that is all for Alex. I mean turtles. So I mentioned that I'm gonna go into maybe a loop. So basically everything I explained so far, that's what is in my notes. Yeah, everything I explained so far. So let me go to loop. Let me just touch a little bit about loop. Or let me leave loop till next time. Loop till next class. Are we going to loop fully in our next class? So our assignment for this week. Let me just remove this because that's loop assignments. We've covered a lot today already. So practice, practice. I gave us one assignment, right? Remember to do that. I mean, at the beginning, while I was doing the tutorial, remember to add this with these assignments, which means practice, change the value of the total tax. Yes. So thank you. Have a wonderful practice. Bye bye.